Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep When I'm Dead book club discussion for the Hitchcock Hotel. I did not grab my copy, but I know Leah does right there. So please let me know what you ended up rating this book. Leave your star rating. We are saving our rating to the very end of the discussion. But yeah, just let me know if you're here, if you read it, what you rated it, all that fun stuff. Let's just go ahead and do some introductions. Wendy, why don't you just kick us off? Who are you? What do you like to read? Give us the tea.
Who are you, Wendy?
Who are you?
Does anyone know who I am here? My name is Wendy, and my channel is Wendy's Inspired Reads, and I primarily read fantasy, historical fiction, and romance.
Yeah. Okay, want me to go?
Sure.
My name is Leah, and I am on Instagram and YouTube with Leah Beth Book Time, and I primarily read, what do I read? Romance, feel-good books, fantasy, thrillers, all of the good stuff. And I'm super excited because nobody knows this maybe, but I'm a huge Hitchcock fan. He is a movie director, and he is amazing. And you should, after this discussion, go watch Rear Window, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes. So it's so funny because like we interviewed the author just like literally we ended like 25 minutes ago. And right when we started like talking to her, I had just found out that Leah was like a Hitchcock fan. I was like, the stars aligned.
Like crazy Hitchcock. That's why she picked the book. When you gave us a couple options, she's like, Hitchcock.
You know what's so funny? I thought you knew. I was like, oh, she picked it because she knows I'm a fan. That's how like
That's how vain you are.
I loved it. I was like, wait, this is amazing.
And you know what's really cool too is like me and my husband, we liked Hitchcock before he was like super relevant again. Because like there was a time where nobody was talking about him, and it was like during 2013-ish when we were like living overseas, and we were like, oh my gosh, Hitchcock is so great. So Rear Window, Rope, and I would say A Shadow of a Doubt. Those are all my favorites of Hitchcock. So
nice. I have not seen any of those.
they're just like, keep in mind it's an older movie, so like if you know, you're not gonna be like mind blown, but it's gonna be like such a great ride. Like honestly, Rear Window can contend with any movie today.
Nice.
Sure. Not Birds.
So
the only one I watched.
Two. Well, I guess so my name's Jessie. Welcome to my book club. I'm so glad to have everyone here. This is going to be such a good discussion. I can feel it in my bones. So I typically read romance and thrillers. This is my thriller book club. So I'm very excited to have everyone here. As far as Hitchcock, I've only seen Psycho and The Birds. So, and we actually, over on my Patreon, we actually watched Psycho, and I was going to have us vote between Rear Window and Psycho, but so it's really weird because like all of the movies were only available on Amazon when I was like planning this, and so you would have to buy. So I felt weird getting people to like spend money to like watch a movie over on my Patreon. But then Psycho moved to Netflix. I was like, let's just do Psycho. You know, people already pay for Netflix, so we'll just do that, which was super fun. But Rear Window was my second option, so I definitely want to try that one. And I've heard good things about Rope.
Rope is really good, but you'll have to keep in mind that it's like, I don't know, it's like the fall of humanity. Like it's very depraved, the way that we talk and stuff. But it's so funny because like you hear Psycho and then you think Hitchcock, but like it's all those other movies that are just like Rebecca. If you watch Hitchcock's adaptation of that movie, and somebody put in the comments, it's North by Northwest. That's also, I think that's like Cary Grant. That was like fabulous too. Vertigo, Jimmy Stewart.
Yep, I looked into Vertigo as well.
Yeah, Vertigo, excellent. That's actually in the book. We're allowed to do spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Sort of. Okay, so like when there's a mannequin floating in the water, that's from that movie. I could just go on and on. There's so many like Easter eggs. It was very Taylor Swift-esque reading it because I'm like, Easter eggs. Easter eggs.
Yep. And like I feel like, I mean, we'll get into this too, but I feel like the author does a really good job of like, if you didn't know who Hitchcock was or hadn't seen the movies, like she definitely like explains it to you without it being like, hey, you should know what, like,
right.
Yeah.
And was it like the chapter ones where she took like essays from him?
Yeah.
He put
I forgot all about those. I forgot to mention like asking her questions about that, but that's okay. So yeah, anyways, we just got done interviewing the author. That is being uploaded as we speak. So if you're a part of my Patreon or if you guys want to join, that will be available to watch. It was so much fun. It's about an hour long and it was so much fun just chatting with her and like great. Yeah. And like getting to hear her talk, like there was a lot of like light bulbs that went off, which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, let us know what, if you're here, what you rated. Hello, Courtney. Brandon is taking a quick shower and then just got back from the gym. He'll be on soon. Nice. I would never read it, but I wanted to see your guys' opinion on it. Oh, okay. Brandon gave it 3 stars. Jules is here. Can't wait to discuss and then go watch the author interview. I'm so excited for you guys to watch that.
Yeah.
Hello. Excited for the discussion. I haven't finished it yet. I'm not loving the writing style, but the plot is interesting so far. Nice. Well, I will definitely say probably after like the 3rd question, if you don't want spoilers, like, pause and come back. And if you are part of my Patreon, I would say don't watch the interview unless you've read the book because, she asked, like, can I spoil it? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So, waving. 3.5 to 4 stars for my rating. Awesome. More hellos. Hi, Angel. 4 stars. Awesome. Yvette is here. She said, let's get spooky. Hello. 4 stars. Awesome. Gave it 5 stars. Yvette. I love that.
It's because I feel like Yvette loves the really intelligent reads. She highly rates those. This was one of those. You got to be like a film lover.
Yeah.
Like a cinematic person. Not really, but sort of.
Yeah.
To appreciate it to its fullness.
Right.
Yeah.
Favorites are Rear Window and North by Northwest. I gave this one 4 stars. I had fun with this one. I could potentially raise it to 5. I love Hitchcock films. Nice. Haven't seen any of these. I'll check them out. I've had fun rewatching Psycho and The Birds this week. Hello, Gwen. Made it home from my in-person book club in time for the discussion. Woohoo. Rated the book 4 stars. Yay. Rear Window's great.
Hey, Amy, we're going to be friends. Find me.
I watched the trailer. For it. I was like, oh, this one sounds really, really good. I watched Vertigo, but I was like 12. So I'm sure I missed a lot.
You did not appreciate it at 12, I'm sure.
Well, fun fact, Wendy let us know that she watched The Birds in high school, and I was like, it's so random.
I was like in an English honors class, so they had us read and watch a lot of weird things.
Yeah, that's true. I had that class. I know.
I met Tippi Hedren back in 1993 at a video distributor convention celebrating the 30th anniversary of The Birds. Oh, that's so cool.
Wow.
Right?
Really
So cool. No vampire metaphors with this one. Leo, you were not there, but the metaphors.
I've heard some of it from Wendy, I think. Yeah, from the So Thirsty discussion, right?
Yeah.
She needs to go back and watch it. It's funny.
Like all of that. I went back to watch it today, but I didn't have the chance, so I'm going to do it.
Well, just note I am deep as a puddle when it comes to that.
Deep as a puddle? Hey, I tried Immortal Dark. I have to give it to like whoever. Like, I mean, that was all about vampire like history. It was like a history type book. No, thank you. I did not. I DNF'd it.
Oh, Yvette is highly intelligent. Avi. Had to watch The Birds in English.
There we go.
Team Puddle for the win. Yes. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into the questions. Like I said, like after like the 3rd or 4th question, if you have not read it, this is your time to like say goodbye. See you later. Thanks for being here. Okay, so I would like to know, have either one of y'all ever read another book by Stephanie Warble?
No, but I'm gonna.
0.
Oh my gosh, you guys haven't read her books. Okay, so I've read all of her books so far. So I've read Darling Rose Gold. It came out during the pandemic. I remember like being at work and not really working because we were closed but not closed, and I'd be sitting in a corner reading this book and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and like people around me are like, what's happening, I'm like, you're never gonna believe this.
That's amazing. I love that though.
So I have read This Might Hurt, which is probably my least favorite out of the 3. I think I gave that one 3 stars, maybe 3.5.
The cult, right?
Yeah, that one's more of a cult. Darling Rose Gold, I don't know if she like meant this, but like if you liked the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, I think you would really like Darling Rose Gold. But she does say like the abuse is off page, so it's not anything like that. But that one's really good and it has a wow twist. And then I've read this one, and yeah.
Also, Sharp Objects by Julian Flynn has Munchausen's as well.
Yes.
So that would be another good one too.
There's also another one called Saving Megan, also that has that.
Yes,
topic.
I remember seeing that. Yeah. After talking to her, though, I definitely want to pick up her books. She was very highly intelligent, and I really liked her a lot.
Yeah. I've also, well, here's the other thing. With This Might Hurt, I realized I don't like cults. And I think cults are super fascinating, but for some reason, they don't really work for me in thrillers. So that's just a me thing. So, but yeah, if anyone else has read anything by this author, let us know. We're going to do my favorite question, and everyone in the comments, please let us know what your answers are. But if you had to say, this question is super worded incorrectly. This was supposed to be for, I totally copied and pasted this from the Riley Sager book.
I totally said that to Leah.
I knew that because it was like,
did she copy and paste?
It had he and his for the author, and I was like, it's not like there's so many he's and his, and it's a lady.
Oh, oops, my bad. But if you had to describe this word using only 3 words, how would y'all describe it?
I put atmospheric, modern Agatha Christie. I know that's not one word, and clue.
Clue. I love that.
I spoiled mine during the live author discussion, so I get to say it here first before you watch that. So good. I would say clever, diabolical, and mischievous.
Ooh.
I didn't know what was going to go on. There were a lot of mischievous characters that were shady and shifty.
Yeah. So for my 3 words, I said like slow burn, clicky, and then atmospheric were my 3 words.
Slow burn is a good one because it definitely.
But like not slow burn. I feel like slow burn gets like a bad rep, but like not in a bad way. It's just, it was just a slow burn. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Brandon said this was his first book by this author. I have to admit, I'm way more of a Daphne fan than a Hitchcock fan. I don't even know who that is, to be honest.
That's the author of Rebecca.
Oh, okay. Toxic reader over here. Sorry. I was very disappointed by both The Birds and Rebecca. Interesting. Really? I did write Rebecca for me to read, so we'll see if that actually happens.
Rebecca is very good as both the old, but the newest adaptation on Netflix is also like chef's kiss. It's very good. What's that? I'm trying to think of the actress. I'm going to find her who plays that role, but she did fabulous.
Angel said this is her first. Haven't read by this author before. I used to live in Springfield, so I know too many people involved in the real case of Rose Gold was based on. Interesting.
Lily James.
Yes.
Yeah, this one on Netflix is definitely more like superior, I guess.
Okay. I'll have to give that a shot if I read the book. If not, I will probably still give it a shot though. Let's see. I have read This Might Hurt and enjoyed that one. Darling Rose Gold is, I know, I keep telling Gwen she needs to read it because I feel like she would really love it. So, those are good. This was methodical. Nice.
That's the word that she used.
That would yes. us.
The author used this word, voyeuristic.
Yeah, she used that, or voyeurism is what she said.
Yeah, voyeurism. Like,
yeah, I'll write it back. You get it. You're smart.
She's intelligent. Dark academia and twist. That's a good one. Atmospheric, intertwined, revengeful. Atmospheric, vibes, clever. Yeah, when I was talking to Gwen, she just said the vibes. The vibes. I was like,
vibes are vibes.
Creepy, dark, and twisty. She's laughing that we are calling her intelligent.
Hey, you were of one mind with the author because that's what she said.
That is true. Brownie points there.
Like, you could just be her best friend.
Steady, suspicious, secretive. Ooh.
I like that. Those are 3 good ones, Jules.
Good job, Jules. I read Rebecca earlier this year. I still need to watch it. I also just read Psycho, but missed the movie night. Oh, no worries. It was really good.
Too.
I highly recommend.
Just have another movie night with another Hitchcock.
Yeah. A lot of people that did go, they're like, I want to watch more. So maybe I'll do a Rebecca night. I'll just make it happen.
That's a great movie.
Oh, definitely the vibes. Sorry, I'm late. I know, with my Italian hands, I don't know why I do this.
That for everything.
I read this and ready to discuss. Yay! I'm excited. I'm nervous, but excited to hear what Lena thought. So.
Wait, Lena, because your name is on my paper.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. Well, that was intentional. So
that's
it was a question.
Yeah. So let us know what you rated, Lena, since you just joined. Be right back. Going to hang out with the author. I haven't posted it yet.
It kind of even reminds me your personality a bit. Kind of reminds me.
Just added Bates Motel. Yes. It's on Prime? I watched it on Netflix years ago.
They took it off. I think it's on Prime now, but it's...
Oh, that's a shame. Well, I'm glad you're going to watch it. Okay, moving on. This book is centered around a hotel with a very specific theme. If you had a special themed hotel, what would your theme be? I kind of already know what Leah's going to say just based on the discussion, but...
Mine's not as clever, but it would be a fantasy themed one, and each room would be from a different fantasy book.
Oh, I love that.
Really good, Wendy. That's really cool.
Then I could just live out my real dream in each room.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Okay,
one could be Narnia. That would be so fun.
Oh yeah.
Court of Mist and Fury.
Yeah.
Valeris. I could cut out in the corner.
Go see the stars.
I don't want quotes on all the walls.
But there has to be a Batman there.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, Wendy, do it. I'll go. That would be the best. Okay, so for me, Avi, I'm going to say a Taylor Swift Eras themed hotel because I am who I am. But I also thought of a different one because I figured everyone would think I would say that. Stars Hollow, Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls. Oh, that would be cool.
I mean, it would be so amazing. Each room could be based off of a character. Luke could be costume room. Lane could be music from every genre. All of it. Kirk can be weird.
So I have 2 answers for mine. So I would say a readers type room. So there would be a coffee shop, and there'd be a room with just naps, and then a bookstore. There'd be a little library outside.
Yes.
We'll have reading sprints in time, in person. But then my other theme, and I'm totally taking this off an Airbnb I saw, but I would love to do a game type of hotel. I've seen one where it's there's one that's a Monopoly themed room.
Oh, that's so cool.
And then an arcade and Mario and different board. I feel it'd be really cool to have
Candyland.
Yeah.
Lots of candy in it.
I love that. Piggybacking off of Wendy's idea, what if you did a different genre hotel? There's
that'd be cool.
Genre, fantasy genre.
Go to the horror room.
Horror.
That would be cool.
The horror room is in the basement.
Right. Yeah. You could do a different literary genre. Oh,
I'll put a fake graveyard in the back.
Yes. Everybody would come. It would be super cool. And there could be a Goosebumps room. It could be
Jules would never leave.
Let's see.
I love that.
Need a Bates Motel rewatch. Yes. Is she unhinged or intellectual? I love it.
So
Stephen King theme for sure. That would be really cool.
that would be cool.
I'd never finish it. I feel like the Goosebumps R.L. Stein would be cool. Yes. Ooh, a Harry Potter Airbnb.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Oh my gosh, Ravenclaw and I think no, wait, My House of
A
Gryffindor.
friend's hotel.
I love that. Yes.
That would be fun. Book me a room, Jesse. You got it. I got nothing, but everyone's hotel sounds so amazing.
Book Me a Room could be the title of it because it's like
Ooh, let's just go in business.
right.
I mean, we might as well.
Pirate ship hotel. That would be cool.
She would say
Anna
pirates.
would go there for sure.
Stayed in a game. Yeah, I think so. I went on like Verbo or Airbnb or something, and it was like check out this really cool one. I'm like, well, that has nothing to do with the East Coast, but okay. But I think it was in Denver.
Yeah,
Interesting.
the Polly Pocket themed Airbnb that they have going on.
Ooh, Agatha Christie. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I also have a housekeeper named Danny. Love that. Okay, so that was a good, fun question. Okay, so this book has a lot of hints and information about Alfred Hitchcock and his legendary films. Have either one of you seen an Alfred Hitchcock film? Which I know we've kind of already talked. If not, do you plan on watching any of them soon? And Lena specifically wants to know if this book encouraged you to watch any.
I've only seen The Birds. I'm not much of an old movie person, so I don't have any plans to watch more. But I will say, I don't think The Birds was the great first one to watch.
That's like the worst one to start with. Don't do that for sure.
You could always rewatch Rebecca, the newest one.
That's true. Go with that. For me, I would say, gosh, I want to rewatch all of them again because of reading the book. But specifically, there were some in there that I hadn't. I don't know if I could find them now, but I hadn't seen those movies, and so I felt like that would be really cool to check out, kind of like his whole backlist, because there's so many different things that even if he wasn't the main, he was like a supporting director on. So yeah, just going through all of his backlist and finding all of the movies. But yeah, I'm a huge Hitchcock fan because the quote that he was unhinged, and that's like the best way to describe him. And he, I think, like raised the ceiling for thriller genre movies and how they're done.
Yeah. Agreed. For me, like I've said, I've seen Psycho, The Birds. I'm interested in Rebecca because I know that's a really popular one. Rear Window, Robe. Also Dial M for Murder I was also interested in.
That, I will say, if you're just kind of like wanting a good introduction movie, that one is fabulous because it's fast-paced and it's very, very good.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that one.
Have you seen the one he did for World War II propaganda? I have not, personally.
I haven't either. She's a diehard fan. We don't even know.
This was also a fun one. Nice. Okay. I am opening the question for everyone in the audience. Please leave your answers. But if you've watched a Hitchcock film, what did you recognize in the book? Like any certain like props or setting or characters, like anything that stuck out? There's like, that's a nod to Hitchcock.
The only thing for me was the bird.
I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, I haven't watched them, so you know.
Well, gosh, so many things, but I don't want to do major spoilers. But specifically, there was a scene where there were boots underneath the curtain, which is symbolic for the movie Dial M for Murder. But there was an anachronism in it too, because I think the author said that the main guy who was trying to strangled her with his tie, but actually it was like a stocking from her knitting basket. So I found a few things where I was like, oh, I remember that, but also this. And so, yeah, I would say that there was a lot. Vertigo was mentioned a lot. Like I said, the mannequin. I'm trying to think of other things. The milk and the silver tray.
Oh, yeah.
That was just like a poster that had been popular. So there were a lot of good things.
Yeah.
That was great.
I definitely saw a lot of like nods to like The Birds, Psycho. And I think it was really interesting because there was one, and I cannot remember which movie specifically, but it was the old like carousel horse, because they actually
Oh,
had that in the hotel as well. I just tried looking it up. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, the carousel.
we're
Yep.
on a-
Do you know what horse, or I'm sorry, what movie the carousel horse was from? And then also, I learned talking to the author about the housekeeper being named Danny.
Strangers
So,
on a Train.
Strangers on a Plane.
Strangers
Yeah,
on a Train. Yeah.
nice. So yeah, so like even though I didn't know that, like I've seen a picture of Alfred Hitchcock with that horse before like reading this book, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I kind of knew, but kind of didn't know.
Well, it's
So,
funny too because they pretty much almost recreated the Psycho scene whenever
yeah.
Sarah sees someone outside of her shower.
Yep. And then like also like the scene of like Alfred like spying on Grace. So
Well, that's from Psycho too when they're spying.
yeah. Watch Psych TV. There's an episode all that's Hitchcock related.
Ooh,
Nice.
okay, let's do it.
Let's see. Did I miss something? I was going to shout out, that question was submitted by Gwen. Okay. So would you say the story is more character driven or plot driven?
Character.
Yeah, I would say it's more character driven because the plot kind of reveals itself later on, small, slow ways. So I would say we're mostly following each character and how they, in the grand scheme, connect to the main character. So yeah, I would say it was character driven.
Yeah, because I feel like, again, going back to the word like slow burn, and I don't know why I'm still talking with my hands. But I feel like that's gonna be my meme. But going back to like slow burn, I feel like, yes, like we're getting, like it took so long to get to like what's happening, why are we here, what's Alfred up to, like all that stuff. So like I feel like that's where it was like more character driven and like learning about his past and things like that. Yeah, so
you lean into the character stories and like their failures while you're waiting for the plot to unfold. So yeah.
I would also argue, and I know Gwen will like agree with this, I think it was also vibe driven because the vibes were there.
Yeah, the vibes were definitely just distrust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Character for sure, definitely. If anyone thinks it was plot, let me know because I would love to know why. But I mean, no wrong answers. Okay. So with the story, we are in the current timeline with everyone's point of view, and we get glimpses of what happened back in college. Did you like this format, and did you think the author made it like easy to navigate throughout the story that way?
I personally didn't like that. I felt like it kind of took me personally out of the story, where I was kind of just wanting it to like get on with like what was going to happen.
I actually disagree because I enjoyed those flashbacks because they gave me some like interest in what was happening in present day. I felt like they gave me more like I don't know, like a bigger picture of how the feelings were in operation in the middle of the story, because you don't understand why are they so distrusting, what is going on, what leverage do they have over each other. So it just gave you a little bit of like breadcrumbs along the way. So I did enjoy the point of views and going back the timelines.
Yeah.
The dual timelines were good.
I agree with Leah. Because personally for me, I feel like some thrillers are like Alfred in the past, Alfred in the present. Whereas this one is just like you said, like breadcrumbs along the way. Yeah. So,
and also I feel like the different timeline really helped you like form your idea of each character in present day a lot more, because for me, learning about Alfred's past, I was like, able to be like, okay, well, he's very like, he's a short fuse, he's inconsistent, he's like, you know, maybe he's a little mentally traumatized.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Agreed. Let's see. These guys had toxic friendships from the start. Agreed. Another word is hidden. We are missing a big part of the plot, and I loved it. Let's see. I agree with Wendy. Nice. Character driven. The plot was kind of non-existent
until the end.
True. Oh, look at you. You just brought it up. Yes, I loved it. It kept me wanting more and more. I liked the flashbacks because it brought more information about how these relationships worked and didn't work together.
That's
Nice.
really
I like how you worded that. I like the flashback chapters. I like the college glimpses. I prefer that over having a whole section of the book be during that time. It felt way less new adult and more adult with flashbacks. I agree. Character driven for sure. The plot was there, but very slow to develop, which I enjoyed. Odd for me to say. That is very odd for you to say. There was just enough character that I didn't get confused by timelines. Yeah,
I really agree with Lena. I feel like the strength of this book was how many characters, because without that many characters to try to like dip into their lives and like what about them do we need to know about, it would have been a lot more just nothing happening for a very large part of the book. But because we had those characters, so many, it helped us get through the story to the plot.
Yeah, agreed. Let me see. This book has a lot of characters, like you just mentioned. We have Alfred, who is the hotel owner, Zoe, Grace, TJ, Julius, Samira, and Danny. Which character stood out to you the most? Were there any characters that you just didn't care for? And then Yvette specifically wanted to ask, did you sympathize with anyone? And to add another question, Jules wants to know, who was your least favorite character?
I feel like Alfred obviously sticks out the most. He's a very strange individual. And I would say the character I liked the least was Grace.
Did you sympathize with anyone?
No.
No sympathy.
No.
Yeah. For me,
like what Brandon said.
My favorite character was probably Danny, because I really knew she was a sleeper cell in some way. I didn't know how specifically, but I knew she was like either going to be this very quirky accomplice to whatever he had planned, or also she had another game going. So I just kind of figured she had something going on. And then my least favorite character would probably be Samira, because she literally had no point until the very end. Like, she could have gone the entire book and she showed up at the end and been like, hey, everybody, for like 5 minutes of the book. And then
sorry, I'm late.
Things unfolded. She was probably my least favorite character because she didn't have, that much backstory really. Other than being, I think she was the roommate of Grace, right? Yeah. And then Zoe they added later. Did I sympathize with the character? I would say probably, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Did I? Maybe Zoe, because I feel like I've been in situations before where I saw the aftermath of what I thought was like a bad situation, and then I've had to like keep a secret. I've been like, not to the gravity of murder, don't get me wrong, but I you know what I mean? Like I've gone through different things where I thought that I had to, like have a secret, and someone had leverage over me. This was like high school stuff, like, parties, you see things there. So yeah, I would say Zoe probably, because she had to keep that secret. And it was very difficult for her. And when she tried to share it with Grace like shot her down.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, characters that stood out, obviously Alfred. Like, I feel like he is just the star of the show. Like, I loved him. So any characters I didn't care for, like, I guess like we're not supposed to like Grace, but I didn't like really like her that much. Like, I guess like this also goes into like my least favorite, but I did not care for Zoe at all. Like the whole, like from the very first page, I feel like she was just trying to like, what are you up to? I'm like, shh, look, like stop. Like, we're getting there. Like stop.
She really, yeah.
I was just like, stop. Like, let the story unfold. Like, if you get murdered, I'm sorry, but like, I don't care about your suspicions right now. And then sympathize. Like, I kind of feel bad for like Alfred, because like, I think it was Julius who got in trouble with his dad because Alfred made a comment about him selling drugs. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to like get Alfred expelled. And I'm just like,
whole life.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like that was just too wild and crazy. So
Yeah,
he was annoying.
It wasn't proportionate to what happened.
Yeah.
One wasn't proportionate to the other.
Let's see. I didn't really like any of the characters, but I didn't mind it. I think Alfred was my favorite and Samira was my least favorite. Sympathize with the alcoholic. Yvette, you're so funny. What's your glass tonight? Mine is Merlot. She is drinking champagne. It was a day. Going to some winery in 2 weeks. I love that. Give me recommendations. Zoe was super annoying. Yeah, agreed. I mean, they were all kind of annoying in their own special way. But
Julius was like just the comic relief, and he was very vibrant and vivacious. I didn't like him.
Yeah. I felt bad for Alfred. He got a raw deal. Yeah, exactly. Wow. Okay, wait. Back to the book. Hated Danny.
But did you hate her because you knew she was up to something, so then she was a person of major interest, or did you just hate her character overall?
Probably both. Okay, so the friend group is very complex and each had something going on. Do you think their kind of friendship was realistic? How and why?
I mean, I haven't personally met friendships like that, so I can't say that I've seen it. That doesn't necessarily mean it isn't out there.
I think it's totally realistic because in high school, if you're like you said, it's kind of cliquey, right? So there are like a big group of friends where you all have like different cliques within it, to where like I might be closer to this person, and there's like your failures attract their victories, and like so I feel like it definitely has potential to be real life. I mean, just look at Friends, the show. They're all vastly different, but they make it work. So I feel like there are a lot of mostly opposites attract in friendship, and I would say that you could see that best in a group setting too.
Yeah.
Each person has to provide something. There has to be the lower end of the entire group, which I would say would be Zoe. And then you have to have the solid guy, TJ. You have to have the money, Julius, mastermind, Alfred.
Yeah.
The heroine that everyone wants, Grace.
Yeah.
She's got nothing.
I will say, like, I feel like the friend group seemed very, like, kind of like cliche. Like, you had, like, the one girl that, like, everyone was drawn to. You had, like, Alfred, who's kind of, like, a bit odd. So, like, I feel like they seemed very cliche, but, like, also, like, I can see that happening in real life because there are people like that. And I really like Brandon's comment here. In college, yes, but in adult timeline, no.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that, like a college group being very diverse, but not so much as an adult. You're more picky.
Yeah. But also, I guess, like, I personally haven't had friends that I haven't seen in 15 years or so, and like something traumatic happened and I'm like plotting this revenge at my super bougie hotel.
I feel like Alfred was a little bit of, he had some tantrum issues. Like, I feel like the things he was frustrated about were a little silly.
Agreed. Yvette did not like during the investigation, she kept throwing everyone under the bus. College is a weird thing, and the type of people I was friends with in college versus now, totally different. Agreed. Yeah. Okay. So moving on, this is actually a request from Lena. She asked, who would you cast to play all the characters in the Alfred Hitchcock if it were a film? Or I guess the Hitchcock Hotel, excuse me.
I got nothing.
I got my entire list.
I can't think of anything.
Do we need to have pictures with it though?
I mean, those are always bonus points.
How about we do this? Like, I'll say Alfred and who I think, and then you say him. That way I have time to look up his picture.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I can start. Alfred, I specifically think the casting, how do you say his last name?
Badgeby.
Badgeby. From the show You. I feel like he'd be a perfect Alfred.
Leah came prepared.
I was really prepared.
Leah's always prepared for castings.
I have a lot of favorites in the acting world.
So I pictured Jim Parsons as Alfred. He plays in
Oh
The Big
my
Bang Theory.
gosh, I could totally see that too. I
Because
love
definitely like the lankiness, but
Yeah.
it's really weird. I'll kind of like skip a little bit, but like also for like Grace, I can see Kaylee Coco, who also plays in The Big Bang Theory.
Oh my gosh, yes, I could see that. Well, even though she strikes me as more of a when you get Samira when she first walks in, she seems like kind of like a harebrained, like very erratic. I don't worry about my kids all the time kind of person. I can see her best cast maybe as that too. So for Julius, I have Liam Hemsworth. Number one, I like to look at him. Number two, I feel like he looks like the pretty boy, like comes from old money, fly my friends on a first class jet kind of person.
Next time when I am asked this question, I'm just gonna pick people and say I just like to look at them.
Do it. I have a really good one too for Danny. Hold on, let me find a Helen Mirren, but like specifically like with her longer hair pulled back in a bun. I could totally see her being a Danny.
Okay, so, I can see it.
Yeah. And then you go. Well, look someone
else. So like not following your pattern at all. But for Samira, I pictured this actress. She played Kate in season 2 of Bridgerton. Well, actually, just in the series. But like I pictured her with like her personality, just in general, because I love Kate.
As who again? As who? As who?
Samira. Her name is Simone Ashley. So I loved her. And then as far as Danny, I also pictured, what is her name? She played in American Horror Story, and she played the maid. Story.
While you look her up, this is who I got for Grace, Natalie Portman. She just has that look about her, like she's the woman with the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought she would be a good casting for that.
Here is, so in American Horror Story, there's like a young version and an old version, but I pictured Danny to be the old version of.
Oh my gosh, I could totally see that. Mm-hmm. Yes, I would, and I feel like she's such a, like Helen Mirren actually has an air of like mischievousness about her, like deviousness, but she would be like more like sweet and grandma-ish, and you would at least suspect her.
I can't with a bit.
All right,
Glen Powell. That's so funny. That was who I was going to say as TJ was Glen Powell.
Okay, I love that.
Also, cowboy hat. Do I say enough?
I mean, yes, I love that. Also like to look at him. Okay, I would say for TJ, I saw him kind of as Chris Pratt. I'm going for people that people would know more often because I'm like, okay, well maybe they can't. Maybe I wasn't going to have pictures, so.
Mm-hmm. And I could not think of anyone for Zoe, personally.
Okay, so I thought of someone, and I'm trying to pull her up, but she has a very weird name, but she's on The Lovely Bones as the main character. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
I think her name is Source or Therese Ronan.
Yeah, I know who
you're talking about. And I saw her as like a Zoe.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then the last one I had was Samira, my favorite. And I saw her as, hold on. She's from a long time ago in like that movie Shopaholic, but Isla Fisher. I thought she would be like a good mom representation. Mm-hmm. And I could see her being super spastic when the plot and something happens and she's like making last minute decisions in a rash way. I could totally see that being her. So that was my list. Also,
prepared.
I mean, I was thinking Grace could also be big Blake Lively because in A Perfect Favor, she's a boss. Oh. Blake like Grace in that way. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Great movie, by the way.
Not me asking the question that I personally dread the most to answer. Bad with actors' names. I see Alfred as Benedict Cumberbatch.
I could see that too. He's very eccentric.
Both are good. I never character cast.
It's okay. Neither did Wendy.
Or the guy from Big Bang Theory.
I let Leah do the work for me.
Meryl Streep as Danny. That's a good one. Ooh. Glen Powell. love to see it. I'd watch that movie.
Oh yeah, Glen Powell for days.
Never Enough. The redhead in Sex and the City. Can't think of her name for Danny. Yep, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, I can see that too.
Not me looking up all these people because I don't know actors'
We're
names.
trying to show pictures.
I don't either. I never know their names.
Miranda, yeah.
But if you put a movie on and I'm not looking, I could tell you the title of the movie just by hearing the first minute of it. So
Really?
I love that for you.
That's a very good
Ooh, Emma Roberts as Zoe would be a really good one.
Yeah,
oh
that's a good one.
You know that she was my first pick, Lena. She was literally my first pick. And I was like, I don't know. She's in all these college movies. I just don't know. But she was literally my first pick too. So
yeah. Well, I guess like if they do the flashbacks, like that would be a really good like college version.
Yeah, I just want to see Emma Roberts in that like Dude, Where's My Car era, like all these college-y movies that are just like, I don't know.
That's funny. Okay. So going back to the part where we got information about what happened when they were in college, I personally feel like the entire book was slowly leading up to the big event. Did you have any theories of what happened? Like why? Like, did you have any theories leading up before getting any answers?
No.
I thought it was going to be very reminiscent of the Murder on the Orient Express. I thought, okay, back in college, they all either committed or a murder together, or they were all in the same room when a murder happened. They all obviously have leverage on each other, these secrets that are making them manipulate each other. So they did something together. But I was actually shocked to know that it wasn't as many of them in cahoots together as I thought. So I was really surprised that it wasn't more entangled, but that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be like all of them are like a fraction of guilt on all of them. They did something bad, but I was really surprised when it.
Yeah, I also thought like each one of them had a hand in like, I guess like a seventh friend that got murdered or something.
That's
or yeah, like something happened. But then I kept seeing like they kept talking about the professor. I'm like, okay, why isn't the professor ever? So like I was suspicious, but I thought it had something to do with like a murder. So let's see. I was let down by the big event personally. I was hoping that would be a bit more salacious. It was a bit anticlimactic, to be honest. I wanted them all to be more involved.
I do. I feel that way too, Brandon. I wanted them to have more like sinister roles and what happened.
Yeah, agreed. I was hoping it would bring them. Oh wait, I was hoping it would bring all of them, not just a few. True. True.
Yeah, I was let down by the ending in that way because I felt like they were all. You were thinking they were going in one direction. They were all kind of like incriminated in some way. And when it didn't happen, and when the main character died, it was kind of disappointing.
Right. Well, I'm just now realizing I kind of messed up with my normal format because I usually have one co-host like give a synopsis at the end. So sorry, Wendy, you did not have your shining synopsis moment at the beginning of the question.
Relieved. I'm relieved.
You are. Well, now Leah gets to tell us like what happened, the big reveal, what happened, who did what. Give us a breakdown.
Oh my gosh. And now, okay, let me see. That's a lot of pressure.
Okay. I have the worst memory. I'm so glad you didn't ask me to do that.
So basically you have these friends who are all called to the main friend's B&B, which he has basically taken a home from memories that they had in college. They passed by this big home many times. It's like this, I guess, I don't know, huge Victorian style mansion-y home. And they would see this couple out on the porch all the time. And they had like fond memories of being near this home. So he took this home, he renovated it into a Hitchcock hotel, which is reminiscent of their time in college. They had a cinematography class with a professor named Dr. Scott, which I think that I don't know if they all attended. I don't think they all attended it. I think it wasn't everybody. I think it was just a few choice people that attended this class. But Alfred's love of Hitchcock was intertwined with Grace, another main character's love of Hitchcock and mysteries as well. And I would say that in the friend group, Alfred and Grace are kind of the anchors. You do get some backstory on some of the other people. I think it was Samira and Grace were roommates in college. Then they met Zoe, and then they kind of formed this clique where they added TJ and Julius. But Alfred and Grace were like the main characters, kind of. And so what happens, basically, to kind of sum it up, is there's this old grudge that Alfred has from the past that involves, in some way, all of them, maybe not always directly, but maybe indirectly. Like directly as in someone did something wrong, and indirectly in the fact that they knew about it and said nothing. So they're all in his eyes guilty. And one of the main reasons that they are guilty is because there was a time in his life that I'm going to get to in a second where he needed them to all stand up for him, and they didn't. None of his friends came to his aid. So anyway, we're going back to modern day. There's this grudge, this thing that this guy has held on to for a long time. It's an event that happened. Well, basically, it's something that he and Grace did together that caused another event to happen, and they all know about it. So he's calling them all back because with each one of them, he has a unique grudge between their friendship in time. Each one of them has in some way wronged him more than others. But he's kind of using them to he has this idea. I'm going to draw them to the hotel under the guise of a reunion. And then I'm going to maybe pit them all together. And I'm going to get my revenge because I'm going to put them all these people that I have a grudge against, and I'm going to pick out a victim and a murderer. And I'm going to orchestrate it in a Hitchcockian way that someone dies and there's going to be someone I'm going to place the murder on. So he's kind of like puppet mastering this weekend with all of his friends. And the way he gets all of them to attend, because you're probably wondering, okay, if they had all of these weird relationship issues, how did he get them all to come? Well, Grace, who is another main character, he ends up basically blackmailing her to try to get her to make everybody come. So he gets all of them in this room. And the reason he's so mad at them, and this is where you get the flashbacks, is because in college, Grace and he started this little undercover company in college where it was called Easy A, where people in this specific cinematic department or class that was based on movies could ask them to write essays, and they would write essays that would give people A's, and then they would reap lots of money from it. So there was this undercover kind of school related business they had going on, which of course you can get in a lot of trouble for in today's day. So anyway, his major grudge with Grace was that Grace was the mastermind of this plan. She was the one who wrote the essays, and Alfred was only the person who took the payments. And it might have started with just this one class that they did it for, but I think it spread to all different kinds of classes eventually. I can't remember. But they had this big underground ring of cheating. So then whenever there's a point in time, like I said, he's got a vendetta with each individual character. If this is going on too long, let me know. So Julius is one of the main characters he has beef with. Alfred tells a secret about Julius to his dad, that he is basically a drug dealer. And to get Alfred back, Julius goes to a teacher and tells the teacher that Alfred is in charge of this cheating ring, which obviously gets Alfred in huge trouble, gets him expelled. But before that happens, he goes to his friends and he says, the teacher found out what I did. They're going to bring me into this dean's office. Will one of you come and character reference me and stand up for my character and tell them I'm a good person and whatever? And none of his friends came through for him. So he's mad at them for that. But then Grace, you later find that Grace was the mastermind behind it, but she let Alfred take the fall for it. So Alfred is expelled from school. Grace has separated herself from it, and he just harbors this great grudge against her most specifically, but all of them in some way because they're involved. Well, let's go back to let's go back to flashing back in college. How does he deal with all this stress? He's in modern time, and he's reminiscing on the main event. The main event that was bad was that Grace and he committed a murder together. They murdered the professor that actually had Alfred expelled. How did they do this? Well, Alfred and Grace devised a plan to basically push him off of the school's roof because that's where he had his lunches. So they you think that they both do it, but actually it's just Grace. Grace pushes the professor, off of the roof. So Alfred, basically his whole life is just taking the fall for Grace. So he is very wronged and mad. So there's so many different details. I'm trying to summarize it the best I can. Basically, he's so mad, and in some way, he wants them all to pay. When he is leaving the school after him and Grace have committed this crime, Zoe sees him, and she puts it together. What happened? She puts it together that basically he murdered somebody. Well, when Zoe goes to Grace, Grace acts like it's not a big deal. So basically, within the friend group, everybody kind of knows the secret about it and what happened, but they don't really know everything. They know parts of it, and they're guilty for each part of it. So, long story short, he tries to make his plan happen to where he pits someone against another person to kill them. But he doesn't keep in mind that, there are also people, all of his friends are out to investigate him too. So they are suspicious of him. I'm sorry, it's very long.
No, I'm laughing at what Brandon said.
Leah, can you give us a summary for everyone? I'm so glad. I feel like I'm making this really long. So the one thing he doesn't take account of is that his friends are investigating him and kind of devising a plan against him as he is devising a plan against them. So they are kind of onto him. So they're investigating him, and it all comes to a climax whenever he takes their phones and they go searching for their phones. He takes them. He acts like they've been taken away from the hotel by one of his staff, but really he hides them in this attic space. The attic is above all the rooms where he is able to spy on each person in each room. Samira, the character we all couldn't stand because she had no purpose, figures this out. She figures out there's an attic. And so she goes up to the attic and finds the phones. In the process, Alfred surprises her, where she then pushes him down the ladder and he falls to his death. That's what you think. She thinks that she killed him. Well, then later you find out that it actually was not Samira who totally killed him. So obviously, all of the friends think, he died randomly. Nobody knows other than Samira what happened. They all find him together. Samira's just acting like, I don't know what happened,
Mm-hmm.
And Danny, the creepy lady, calls the cops. The cops come. I'm going to try to speed this up. The cops come to investigate every friend. Danny is trying to basically incriminate each friend because she wants someone to go down, but she's being methodical about it. You don't know it yet, but Danny is a key character who is trying to place blame on people she wants to go down. So anyway, long story short, you find out that Danny is the professor's wife. She knew the entire time by her own separate research that Grace and Alfred killed the professor. So she has been undercover for many months trying to help Alfred come to this plan where he brings his friends so she can figure out who really killed him. When she finds it out, she goes for blood and she orchestrates a way to pin it on Grace by strangling Alfred, because when he fell down the stairs, he wasn't actually dead. She takes a rope and she strangles him to actually kill him. And that's when it all does.
I love how you say, long story short, like 10 times. I'm like,
I don't know how to
no.
summarize it any better than that. So when you find out, Danny is like the mastermind of all of it.
Leah basically just tells you everything that happens.
Well, okay, you can't summarize without so many different parts of the story. You have to get the whole synopsis. So.
No, it's fine because after I read it, I was talking to Jules. I was like, hey, I got a little confused. And she broke it down for me just like Leah did. And I was like, okay, thank you so much.
Oh, good. Okay. So I was trying to make it not so long, but as you go through the story, you're like, there are so many elements you got to bring up. But Grace goes down, and then thankfully everyone else is saved. And Danny, she gets revenge for her husband. So she's like the bad A in the whole story.
I don't know. Leah can literally
this is why she
can
just
tell
finished.
You everything in a book that happens.
It's so bad though, because I feel like I literally talked for 12 minutes.
And by the way, everybody, just so we're clear, she read this in one day, yesterday. Okay, yesterday. On what? 3 times speed? And she gave you the whole book.
I read the book.
How does someone do that?
I audioed it for 2 hours on 2.5 speed, and then I tandem read the rest. And I would say that tandem reading was the ultimate experience for this book.
Nice.
And if you don't know, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, why is the rope important. Why was it significant that Danny killed him and strangled him with a rope when we thought he was already dead? Because that is the synopsis of a Hitchcock movie. I bet you can't guess which one it is. It's self-titled, The Rope.
Rope. Yeah. I was going to say rope, but then I was like, that's too
I
obvious.
thought that was too on the nose.
It is rope. And you don't, I mean, that's not a spoiler for the movie because that's literally the beginning scene. You're going to find out lots of great things. But yeah, so there were a lot of Hitchcock references in it. But that was sort of the synopsis.
Lena says she was so bad when you think about it. She played a long game, all for her boo thing. I can't get down with that. I feel like I am Danny. Cross me and I'll get you in 15 years.
I would say the dedication of Danny is a little bit crazy because I could never plan a long game like that. I'm very I'm not that methodical.
I feel like I could.
I believe that. I believe Jesse.
I believe you could too. Now, see, if
I survive the night with her.
Yes. Now, if I paired up with someone like Jesse, who is diabolical and could think out that kind of plan, I could be the face of that plan, like pretend to be all these people and pretend to be okay and be a Danny and whatever. I could like execute the plan, but not plan the plan.
Right. Well, so I kind of get a gist of how Leah felt about the twist and the ending. Wendy, what did you think?
I felt like at that point, I was like thinking to myself, finally something happened. So
it's that slow burn.
My thoughts.
What Lena wrote kills me. Well, you know what, Lena? I will say this based off your comment, and maybe you can pull it up. Danny is definitely a cannibal. She reminded me of the lady in the woods and So Thirsty, if we know what I'm talking about. She reminded me immediately when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, she reminds me of that lady who is a cannibal.
I could see that. Leah, would you tell me about her plans? But you would think she was joking, so she would kill you and get away with it.
I definitely could be. I can be. The good thing about, and this is like Jesse too, the good thing about our personalities is that we're very fun and like unassuming and like affable, but we could also like turn on you if we wanted to.
Very true. Okay, so my thoughts about the twist and the ending. I loved that it was Danny, even though I had suspicions about her. But I feel like the whole like who did what, how they found him, who really did this, how people were being like set up. That's where it got a little bit confusing.
It was
so
messy.
It was a little
messy,
especially for it to be slow burning, and then all of a sudden it's just like,
It reminds you of Riley Sager's book, The Only One Left, because it does me.
Yeah, kind of.
Just in the pace. The pace
True.
Is mirroring.
I highly disagree.
Whatever. Totally. Even Wendy agrees that it's a slow burn in that book. She agrees. But it is, she loves that book, which it's not a bad book. It is a good book. But as far as like, oh, nothing's happening. Everything's happening. Last 5 chapters. That's how it feels.
I see both sides. So this was a last minute question added, and this was submitted by Brandon. Do you think Alfred's grudge against all of his friends was justified? Should old disagreements be left in the past, or should we always attempt to come back with a resolution, even if it's years later?
I don't think it's justified to want to create this whole thing with your friends. However, I think him being upset is justified.
Yeah.
But like the way he planned his revenge was probably a little bit over the top.
Probably. He should also probably do better background checks on his employees. But that's just me.
No, 100%. Yeah. What do I think? I feel like revenge is tricky because it steals your own life from you because you're so focused on something in the past, right? So you're literally spending your whole life focused on what they did to to. Therefore, you are allowing them to ruin.
Murder is never.
Therefore, you are allowing them to ruin your life. So joke's on you when you're plotting revenge, because if you're actually plotting revenge, you've lost your life to them already. You've already paid, the price. I feel like for me, revenge isn't worth it to lose my time and energy on something that happened. If I'm going to deal with something, I'm actually not someone who holds grudges typically. So if I'm going to deal with something, it's like if you don't deal with it in the moment, then the statute of limitations is passed. I kind of think like there's been plenty of times where like something's happened and like then I'll think about it and like try to bring it up later and it never goes well. So I feel like I'm not saying that you shouldn't process things, but like, and when I'm also saying deal with it in the moment, I'm not saying like in that exact moment, but in the time frame of like a couple days, you should probably process your course of action. And then if you don't, then I feel like the statute of limitations on that problem has been reached.
Yeah. I don't want to like promote murder, but I feel like for what happened in college was just not enough for me to be like, let me waste time, energy, and like finally get my revenge. Now, if it was something like, oh, like I was framed for murder and somehow I'm not
like
in jail,
destroyed your whole life.
Destroyed. Yeah, that I wouldn't murder people, but I would totally get back at them somehow.
I think there's other ways you can get revenge.
And it's so elaborate.
I mean, the revenge on Grace could have just been tell her husband she's having an affair. That's proportionate to what she did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's proportionate.
Yeah.
Like don't try to kill her. Like so I definitely think that like, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're expelled from college, you can go to another college. Plenty of people I knew in high school got expelled from a college for drinking or whatever and then went to another college. Like I don't know if like cheating would really make you like undesirable to like every college in the world, So I feel like he was a little tantrumy and then like he got so upset about we kind of got this idea that he was very sensitive because he got so upset when they made fun of his birthmark.
Yeah.
Like, disproportionately. So you kind of already got this idea he has a problem. He's very sensitive. So I feel like he didn't have justice.
I took away to not trust guys in turtlenecks.
Naturally.
Okay, so now that we've discussed everything and Leah Beth has given us the spark notes on everything.
I'm so sorry. That was so
No, I loved it because like I felt like I was confused. So I feel like if anyone comes here.
Didn't feel like it actually
if you guys are ever confused on a book and Leah's read it, ask her and she will remember the whole thing.
Well, there was a lot of details I left out for time.
I think he was just so smug in his own competence. He was very arrogant and thought he could have the perfect murder. Well, he thought wrong. So, but yes. Okay. So everyone else, if you've joined or just give us a reminder, what did you like? What was your final star rating? Wendy, what was your final star rating? I'm going to think it's a 2.
Oh, did you guys? I mean, it's not my type of book.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Agatha Christie, and I don't like that type of book.
Oh,
Who done it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna rate it the respectable rating that I gave The Only One Left because it reminded me of I just know this about me.
Do not diss The Only One Left like that.
I do not like books that have a slow pace. I just don't. So I gave it a 3-star. My Hitchcock love really drove, and I would have rated it higher, but I truly think that the pacing was a little bit off. So much. I was at like 58%, and nothing had happened really.
Yeah.
Really
nothing happened till 60%.
Yeah, and so like once I forget what was like the catalyst, but it was like the movie and the taking of the phones was like where it all started to actually take off, and I just felt like as a reader, I want more like throughout that spacing. I just want more. So like, I felt like I was let down by the pacing, not really the content. If it had been spaced way better, I would have really enjoyed this book. Like it would have been like a 5-star.
Well, and what Brandon said too, I think because I don't know anything about Hitchcock and I've watched one movie and I didn't even like the one movie, it really did affect because like I know that it's made so that people who haven't watched Hitchcock can still understand it, but I disagree. I think if you don't get those nuggets, you're not going to
Mhm.
enjoy it as much, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
I agree with you. It's like having Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets without Chick-fil-A sauce. Like you need both to make a good experience, right?
What an analogy.
Right? Like if you don't have both, it's not you haven't gone to Chick-fil-A. So I kind of feel like if you don't know Hitchcock references, it really does take away from the
Yeah.
overall effect. It's the flavor.
So I was debating between a 3 and a 4-star, but honestly, after talking with her, I'm going to bump it up to a 4-star just because like I feel like I really got like when those light bulbs were going off, I was like, wait a minute, that makes so much. I don't know. I just feel like it just like made the experience better.
You should tell them what that was, the light bulb.
No, they should go watch it.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, duh. Go watch it. Never mind. Want to know more? Go watch it.
But it's so I will say without going over it, but she explains how she kind of came up with each of the characters in the friend group and like what she referenced them to. And it was like, oh my gosh, that makes total sense of like how each character was. So definitely go check that out, which I'll be posting that on Patreon right after this discussion. So yeah, I'm giving it a 4. So I think 2, 3, and 4 is pretty respectable.
Yeah, I was gonna teeter towards the 3.5 after the author interview. I made changes, but I started at a solid 3.
Yeah. Brandon gave it 3 stars. I mean, he was successful in being part of the perfect murder. Unfortunately, he was the victim. He did not plan that part out. He held a grudge. He really held a grudge. Also, Grace was behind it all. She even said the hotel was her idea too.
It was, yeah.
I forgot that.
It was her original idea. In like the class, they talked about it.
I'm starting to come around to whodunit type of books. I usually don't like those books, but
and
I
also
really like
character driven. That's also not my thing either.
I thought that's what you mostly read, Jules. Isn't that kind of Isn't that what you've done it? I've never read a Goosebumps, so I need to know.
Also, the cop was the old son, right?
Yes. Another fun fact that I would have gotten to had I had like another hour, but like another fun fact was that the cop that investigated was actually the son of the couple that lived in the house prior,
Oh yeah.
And the folklore was that the wife like fed her husband grass to because you can't digest grass as a human. So there was like a lot of folklore in the town too, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he, of course, shot that down. It wasn't true. It was just Alfred trying to create the novelty he wanted for the fans to come.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say after our interview, though, I am interested in trying her other books because she said they weren't like this one. And they were a lot different.
I think you guys would really like Darling Rose Gold. Like I gave that one 5 stars. I loved that one.
Yeah.
And like I said, like the abuse of part of it, it's like off screen. So
yeah,
not off screen, off page.
The one she talked about possibly writing sounds really interesting.
Yes, I'm excited for that one.
Anytime an author can tell a story within time frames, it's very it's difficult to do.
I think if I had more knowledge, we've talked about that. The pacing also got me also. I gave it 3 stars. Wow, I'm shocked, Lena. I don't know why, but I was like, she's either gonna love it or hate it. So just average, slow, and they gave me whiplash in the end. I love it. I gave it 4 stars. I think it's the perfect book to read in the fall. Yes.
Type of fall atmosphere.
Now I want nuggets.
Nuggets. There was really so much building of the story that is why I did give it 5 stars. I think I will leave it at a 4. Okay. Excited for the interview. I'm not on Leah's level of Hitchcock knowledge, but I think the strength of the story is you don't have to be because the author did a good job of letting the reader know what they needed to know. Yeah. Can't wait for the interview.
Nuggets are still nuggets, but without the sauce, they're not.
Yeah. You and your chicken nugget analogies.
I'm hungry.
Now I'm gonna never unsee that.
I didn't have dinner yet.
I read tons of the cozies, and I guess I mean more Agatha Christie type.
Yeah, so basically, like, yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I don't even think that Jules has really read any Agatha Christie or very little, which I'm surprised because I would think she would like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say that's.
Let's see. Now that we've read, do either of you plan to read other books by this author? You guys have already kind of answered that. So lastly, before we end, book recommendations. Do you guys have any recommendations of books that if either they liked this book or if they didn't like this book, what would you recommend?
Murder on the Orient Express. Agatha Christie. Definitely feel like this reminded me a lot of her style of writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Truly any Agatha Christie book would be good. But for me specifically, The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, it has a very similar storyline to where like a group of friends all have leverage on each other and they are coming back together after years of not seeing each other on a like weekend getaway in the mountains. It's actually a very good wintertime read because there's snow and there's a lodge and there's creepy workers kind of like Danny. And one person knows more than they should. So yeah, very like similar kind of storyline.
Yeah. Love Darling Rose Gold, highly recommend. Never read Agatha Christie before. So for me, this is another reason why I think I liked the book a little bit more. I really love reunion type of books, especially when it comes to like college or high school reunions. Like I don't know what it is, but I really love it. So I would recommend, what is that book called?
Is it In a Dark Wood by Ruth Ware? Because that's another one.
No, I will not be caught dead recommending a Ruth Ware.
Rude.
Another one that's reminiscent of this storyline.
I was so unprepared. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh.
I love how color coordinated your bookshelves are.
Oh, thanks. I try real hard. Let's see. I would say this is not like my favorite recommendation, but I would say The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda takes place of something that happened and you don't know what it is till the very end. This was also another Sleep When I'm Dead book club pick. But something happened when they were in high school and the survivors of this like tragic accident come. I mean, that's not a spoiler. Like, you don't really know exactly what happened, but like the survivors come to like the Outer Banks beach once a year to like check in, and then something happens to one of the survivors, like they don't show up or something like that, and it just gets crazy.
Yeah, We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, reminiscent of this sort of like friends reunion storyline. They have a secret. There's another one. Isn't it like The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda also has like people coming back together after long periods of time?
I haven't read that one, but I think you're right.
There's like a town folklore like death, and then they're trying to figure out who did it. But there are friends who know something that happened. So yeah, something also like that.
Yeah. The It Girl by Ruth Ware, it gave the same vibes. Plus, it has more of an adult having to come to terms of something that happened in college, and there's flashbacks. Ooh, another one is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. That's also another Sleep When I'm Dead book club pick that we had many moons ago.
A cool title. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife.
Yes. I love Ashley Winstead. Like, she's probably one of my favorite thriller authors, but that one has about people from college coming back and like just crazy things that happened. And I think it has like 6 or 7 friends in them. So I love reunion books. Same.
I'm totally out.
Ruth Ware and I don't always get along. I always think, oh, I have to read that. And then it turns out to be a like B.A. Paris. Why did I read this? Yeah. I totally feel you on that.
Paris. What was it? Behind Closed Doors.
That's the only good one.
Literally that's the only one I've read.
Only good one though, but it is like literally
the only one I read by them. Love that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last line gives me chills. That book.
That's how I feel about Megan Miranda. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for doing the book discussion and the author interview with me. Thank you guys so much. I think this turned out really, really well. I'll have to have you guys back on in the future. Next month,
90-minute synopsis.
I'll cut you off. I'll be like, and you have 60 seconds.
Just make her like video disappear.
I checked in and I was like, am I going too long?
No, I think you did great. So next month we are reading The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. The co-host is going to be Gabby from Gabbing About Books and also Keely from Vampire Keely. The live show is going to be November 25th. I may or may not have some exciting news about that book discussion.
Is it that I'm on it?
No, sadly. Yeah. I am in the works of trying to get an interview or a live show of some sort. So,
well, I met him in person, so
he did. He liked us. He stamped our books.
You made him stamp the wrong book, though.
I know, but they were sold out, and we could tell him they were
sold out.
They didn't buy enough because they didn't think he would be popular enough.
Oh,
it was so sad.
Yeah. Well, I've been talking to him. He says we're good, but I'll be honest, I need to like double check with him because I did not feel as confident as Stephanie made me feel confident. She's like, yeah, send me the link, send me the questions. I'll see you on the 28th. I was like, okay, cool. So I just need to check in with him. So I'm not like promising anything, but it may happen. We'll see.
We went to a Riley Sager event and he was there and his book was sold out. We couldn't even buy it. And so when we got up, we were like, can you stamp one of Riley Sager's books with your cool stamp that has your name and your picture? And he was very happy to do so. And he did it aggressively.
Oh, he was aggressive about it. It was right next to Riley. And she's like, here, do you want to stamp in this book? And he's like, in this book? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And takes the stamp. He's like, bang, bang, bang.
It was a Riley Sager book. And he was like, me.
Because he was feeling very salty at that point that no one wanted to talk to him.
It was definitely right beside Riley Sager. He did this.
He sure did. He totally did it. And what was it? Final Girls? Mm-hmm. I forget.
I think it was Final Girls. It wouldn't have been Survive the Night because that was the one I wanted him to sign. Yeah.
That's so funny. All right, I will go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you go subscribe to Leah and Wendy. Their channels are linked down below. If you guys, again, one more time, if you guys want to go see the author interview, that will be going live. I mean, give me like 10 to 15 minutes to post it, but it should be going up pretty soon. So yeah, and all information will be posted on my Instagram as well as the Discord for Sleep When I'm Dead, which is always linked down below. And yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.